Great. So do let me know if there's any problem with sound, because obviously that's important. So we're going to I'll just get into position. It's partly self-interest. I was doing some wood cutting a week ago or so, a few days ago, and I just really, I don't know, this area is feeling quite sore, this right shoulder. So I thought, let's do the shoulder sequence. I wanted to draw out the shoulder sequence, which is we have done it before, but it's good to go back to sort of familiar sequences and practice them and just do them. Yeah, because they really do have a good effect. This particularly focuses on the upper back and the shoulder area, which, we tend to accumulate tension. It can even sort out, strains and pulls and so on. But we're going to start off with a passive pose. Okay, so if you can get a bolster, that would be great. If you haven't got a bolster, you can do a rolled blanket. And then I like to have a little bit of support for the head. Okay, so the head's not being thrown back too strongly. So it's going to be a floor-based practice. I know the last few sessions, I think the last 3 or 4 classes, I've been doing a lot of work on the feet. So I wanted to change that dynamic as well. So we're going to do a sequence which is really floor work mainly, but it is strengthening. And then we're going to come into Supta Baddha Konasana. So with the bolster going across the tips of the shoulder blades. This is a fairly familiar position. So you can bring your head down. In fact, I'm going to raise the head a little more. I'm going to have 3 bricks there. So it's the lower half of the shoulder blades, still in the thoracic area. And this in itself is very beneficial for the upper back. So if you can, you rest your arms out to your side. You can close your eyes. So we're going to start off with a really quiet pose, but it's gently extending through the upper back. If you want to include the leg work, the inner leg work, which we're not going to particularly focus on in this session, but we can do feet together and enjoy a sense of space across the front of the pelvis. And as I said, the arms, if you can, you rest them just above the line of the bolster to your sides. If you can, extend them out fully. Okay, and closing the eyes, allow the jaw to move towards your chin area. Sorry, your chin to move towards your chest area. And the back of the neck to extend a little bit. Obviously, the lower that your head is, the more you go into extension through the neck as well. But so adjust the head height. It's really important to be comfortable in this pose, that we're not throwing the head back in an uncomfortable way. So we'll just spend a moment or two to tune in with the whole body, generating a sense of whole body mindfulness, whole body awareness. And being aware, whatever you've been doing today, whatever dramas or non-dramas have been unfolding, if we can just let those drop back now and come into the focus of the body, sensations in the body. In a sense, we're coming into a more, in a certain kind of way, a more simple situation in the terms of awareness. So we're not so outwardly orientated to all sorts of moving objects or moving dynamics, and we're moving our attention towards, well, the complexity of our own body, centering ourselves around that. So if you can, just letting whatever you've been doing today rest for the next hour or so. Scanning through the body, noticing if you've got any areas of tension or that are uncomfortable. So as I said, I'm going to be focusing my attention on this upper right shoulder, upper right back, but it's going to be different for everybody. And then getting a sense of the quality of your mind, your awareness, your attention. You're feeling more superficial, more dispersed, or more present, more focused. And at least to a certain extent, having a sense of our mood, whether we're feeling calm or agitated, whether we're feeling a sense of warmth, gentleness, or maybe irritation, narkiness. So whatever's happening, just what we can start to do is to open up to that experience. Connecting also with the breath. So I'm not going to particularly guide the breath in this session, just breathe. Quite a lot of the movements is done with the breath, synchronizing with the breath. So we'll come to that, but I'm not going to particularly focus on the breath, but let your body breathe. Noticing your experience around the breath. So yeah, I had like a couple of weeks of just noticing a lot of tension in the diaphragmatic area, which has subsided, fortunately. I have no idea what that was all about, really. But yeah, it was helpful just to keep it in focus if it wasn't very pleasant. So see if you can cultivate an awareness around the breath, diaphragm, the belly, the chest area. Okay, so from there, I want you to bring the soles of the feet onto the floor. And what we're going to do is we're going to roll to one side, if that's going to work. And I'd like to move your bolster to your right side. And the bricks, I'm just going to have one layer of bricks. Okay, so I'm just going to adjust the camera. It's just so it's pointing down a little bit more. Because this sequence we've done before, but it's done. It's quite useful having like a view from above going down. Hopefully this will help a little bit. So the setup is to have a bolster at your right, or it could be a cushion. And then you extend your arms out to your side. Oh, I can see what's going to happen here. Okay, so we extend the arms out to the side. At shoulder height, okay? So you would have done this with me before at some point. So we do this with the breath. So as we inhale, we gently pull the hand back, just like a palm length. And then as you exhale, you push the hand away from you. So I'm just going to describe this. Otherwise, these earphones are falling out. So you're sliding your top hand, I'll just show this. So you're sliding your top hand away from you on the exhale. And on the inhale, you're drawing it back. Staying, which is quite a small movement. Keeping the arms straight. Almost like slightly rigid. And we're moving so what we learn here is to move from the central axis, from the spine. So we're learning to move from the center, moving the arm away from you on the exhale and towards you on the inhale, the top hand. Okay, so that's the first movement. We'll do that 7 or 8 times. And then from there, you're going to completely unwind, drawing the fingertips across the chest, opening the chest towards the sky. Fold your left arm back, sliding down. towards the hands together again. On an inhale, that you're drawing the fingers across the arm, across the chest, opening out, completely open out. Exhale, fingertips meet the chest, slide down the arm. Again, 7 or 8 cycles, so you can allow the pelvis to roll. So this is a bigger movement. If it helps, once you clear what you're doing, you can close your eyes, really focus in on the sensations. And again, we're trying to move from the center of the body, so from the axis. One of the sort of focuses for the sequence is bringing the appendicular skeleton, which is the arms in this case, in a more harmonious relationship with the axial skeleton, which is the spine. So we're sort of harmonizing the axis with the periphery. This is one of the objectives. So then bring the hands together again, and on an inhale, you open the arms as though you're opening it just like a book. They're opening to the middle of the book. Exhale, bring that hands back together again, 7 or 8 times. It's a bit more of a slightly more rapid movement. Inhale, opening. Exhale, bringing the hands back together. So it's very much a kind of mindful movement, gentle movement. We've incorporated this from the work from Thomas Hanna's Somatics, if you're interested to follow up. Exhaling, the hands come together. Inhaling, we open out. Okay, so then bring the hands back together again. 4th movement. As you inhale and exhale, you sweep the arm in a circle, taking your time to do that. Try and extend the fingertips to your furthest reach. So you're drawing, it's like you're drawing a circle on the floor. Allow your head to move, chest to move. As we circle round, I quite like to allow the pelvis also to roll in relationship to the rest of the spine. Okay, so there's a little bit of sliding, as it were, the left hip over the right hip. So we'll do 7 or 8 circles going one way and then change direction. 7 or 8 the other way. Extending around, full extension of the arm. Yeah, you do need a bit of floor space to do this. I'm adapting to my wall here. Okay. And then coming back to center, just have a pause there. Come to stillness. And I want you to set yourselves up on the other side. So I'm going to be facing the camera. You don't need to do this, but you can turn away from your screen if you wanted. But I'm going to actually just turn head to tail so I can be seen. And you set yourself up on the other side. So I've now got my left arm on the floor, my right arm up top. And we start off with a small movement. So it's really important, this small movement. So you're exhaling, pushing the right palm away from you. Inhaling, pulling the right palm towards you. So it's like the fingertips draw back towards the left palm. Exhale, pushing the palm away. So it's deliberately quite a contained movement, this first one, because there's a sense of sliding your right shoulder over your left shoulder and feeling what's happening in the center of the body. So it's like the axis, thoracic spine. We'll do that a few times. Surprisingly simple, but can have this benefit of releasing the muscles around the shoulder, around the neck, around the upper spine. Okay, so the second movement now, as we inhale, you draw your fingertips across your body, open out. Exhale, palm comes to the chest, slides down the left arm. There's one cycle, we can do 7 or 8 of these. Inhaling, opening out. Extend if you can, extend your right arm fully out to the side. Exhale, you swing back. Allowing the legs, or more, it's more like the pelvis, to move a little bit. And really releasing into the movement, sense of softening around the movement. Breathing now. Let me just see that people are doing what I'm saying. That's it. Next time we bring the palms together, your arms stay straight and you open out like a book. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. So you'll be taking your right arm up and out to the side. Again, very beneficial for releasing around the right shoulder. Exhale, bring the hands back together. Inhale, opening out. Exhale, palms together. 7 or 8 times on your own breath. Full opening of the chest area. Allow your arm to come all the way to the floor without forcing, okay? In pause, there's no forcing in this movement. Okay, so hands come back together again. And then we start doing the circles, start going up and round. Full circle if it's possible. Full extension of the arm on your own breath. Extending your arm out, allowing chest to open. As you inhale, exhale, swinging the arm back round. You could go slower and like take a couple of breaths to do a full circle. Yeah, what I noticed, if you want to do one circle with one breath, you have to move around fairly quickly. So you could slow the whole thing down. Maybe that's worth trying just for one cycle. Just go really slowly. But in some ways it does work. As we inhale, we take the arm up. As we exhale, we take it down. So now changing direction. The arms going down on the exhale, coming back up on the inhale. So this works really well as an introductory sequence in a class. And I've found it works really well at the end of a session as well, as a sort of wind down sequence. And I've said this before, but it also works in the middle. You know, if you're making a transition between standing poses and then you want to do some floor work, you could put this in the middle to sort of set up a transition. A sort of change of mood. Okay, we'll come back round to center. Palms together. Just take a pause there. We can add in a twist, but I'm going to leave the twist out. Okay, for now. Pausing there, and then we're going to carefully come up to sitting. And I'm just going to adjust the camera back more directly. Need a cameraman. Okay, so I'm just going to get it. We're going to be doing more upright position now. So with this position, you could sit on if kneeling is not comfortable, you could sit on a bolster. That's fine. Move to one side. I want to be able to extend my arms out to the side. Okay. This is a great move. Okay, so we take the arms out and then bring the fingertips onto the tops of the shoulders, and you just start with very small circles in one direction. And it's working into all the small muscles that link in the arms, the shoulders into the thoracic and the neck. So start off with quite a small movement, easing your way in. Again, you can close the eyes, center, gathering your attention in around the body, the experience of the body. As we start to expand the circle or widen the circle gradually, still going in the same direction. And then eventually you're bringing the elbows round in front of you, towards each other, shall I say. Opening up that area, the upper back, around, in a sense, around the thoracic area. And then start to reduce the circle again. Coming back to just like almost like a coin-sized circle. And release the arms for a moment. Release the arms into your lap, pausing. Softening around the shoulders, releasing around the shoulders, aware of that area. Extend your arms back out again. Bringing the fingertips to the tops of the shoulders. We're going to go in the opposite direction. So I'll let you work that out. So we'll start off going in the opposite direction, circles. Again, starting off small. Start to expand the circle. Again, bring the elbows towards each other in front, expanding back. Obviously, the elbows are not going to touch behind you, but you can reach back. Sense of opening out the chest and then opening out the back of the body. And then very slowly start to reduce the circle again. Gradually. And coming into stillness, release the arms, stand by the side. Closing your eyes for a moment, pausing now. Breathing. Connecting with the breath, connecting with the sensations around the breath, diaphragm, belly, ribcage. Okay, from there, we're going to come into a couple of movements which are called Vajrasana. So you're going to come into child's pose and place the forehead down. The hands rest behind the back of the pelvis. And then we're going to turn the head to the left. Okay, so we turn the head to the left. This will help a little bit with the initial movement. So as we inhale, I want us to sweep up the right arm and look up. Okay, looking up. And then as you exhale, you bring your right hand down and again turn to the left. Turn the head to the left. Okay. And then inhale now, lifting up, turning to the center. Left arm goes up. And as we come down, we turn the head to the right. Inhale, sweeping your right arm up, looking up the center line, reaching up. Exhale, turning to the left as you come down. and comes behind the body. You're now looking to your left, so your left arm goes up. On the next inhale, reach up, draw the shoulder blade down as you exhale, turning to the right. Hand comes around the back of the body, turning the head to the right. Inhale, right arm goes up. Looking up the center line, up to your right hand, draw the shoulder blade down, turning to the head to the left. And see if we can make these as smooth transitions, okay? As you take your left arm up, sweeping up, reaching up, shoulder blade moving down the back as you exhale. Hands come around the back of the body. Inhale, right arm goes up, looking up. Exhale, turning to the left. So you're turning away from the arm as it drops. One more time, inhale, turning the head to center, left arm up. Exhale, turning the head to the right. And then just rest there, rest there. So the head is turned now to the right. Moving into the second movement. So I want you to center your head now and bring your palms together behind you. So you're moving the thumbs away from the body. So it's a little bit more intense on the shoulders. Moving the hands away from you. As we inhale, we sweep up both arms into the cactus position. Draw the shoulder blades down, looking up slightly. Exhale, sweeping the arms around the back of the body. Palms together, away from your body, or fingertips together. Head comes down to center. Inhale, we swing up, look up. Our shoulder blades moving down, away from the ears. Exhale. Folding back down, fingertips together, moving the hands away from you. So you're working into that shoulder area, upper back area, sweeping up on the inhale. Shoulder blades down. Exhale. Sweeping the fingers back and away from you. Forehead comes down. Following your own breath. Inhale coming up. If you want to extend the arms up, you can also do that. The idea is to bring the palms together or fingertips together away from the body. Sweeping the arms all the way up if you wish, or into the cactus position. We'll just do that 2 more times. Inhale. The cactus position gives you a little bit more sense of broadening the chest. Whereas taking the arms up is more like extending through the shoulder. And then coming back to stillness, resting into child's pose. Rest the forehead down, the arms down by your side. Away from your body, coming into stillness. Softening around your shoulders, or releasing around the shoulders. And then from there, coming up into all fours, so a little bit of strength work now. So I'm noticing I'm getting warmer. So I'd like you to come into all fours. And we're going to come in and out of plank pose. So we're going to swing up into dog pose. Feet parallel. So I'd like to do this dynamically and then statically. So we'll do it 2 rounds. So on an inhale, you swing your pelvis down, arms straight, body straight. Exhale, we swing back. So you're bringing weight into your hands, into the arms, into the shoulders. Inhale, taking the gaze slightly forwards, coming into the high plank, as it's sometimes called. Exhale, swing back. Number 3. Number 4. And then on the 5th plank, we'll just hold this for 5 breaths. So it's holding there. 1, 2, the gaze slightly forwards, 3, 4, and 5. Dropping to the knees, rest back for a moment into child's pose, just briefly. Release your arms. And once again, coming into all fours, swinging up into dog pose. And we'll do that again 5 times. So 5 planks. Inhale, 1. Exhale, swinging back. Lengthening through the shoulders as you come back into dog pose. There's a sense of pushing from the hands to the sitting bone. On the 5th plank, we're going to hold there. So if it's too intense, you can always drop to the knees, which is much easier. But the idea is to bring some weight bearing into the arms, upper back, shoulder area. Breathing there. It's like an even pressure, even work. Obviously, you get some toning in the rest of the body. When you're ready, dropping to the knees and drop back into child's pose. Completely release the arms. Release the forehead to the floor. Relax, as they say, releasing. And then from there, just sitting up for a moment. So I want you to bring your, what I like to do with this dolphin is cross the thumbs. I'll just show that. Cross the thumbs and bring the index fingers together. Yeah, can you see that? And I'm going to place the hands in the center of my mat. My elbows are about shoulder width apart. Okay, so I've got, it's a little bit more of a stable base. And we're going to do a similar movement, but only 3 times, not 5. So we swing up the hips. And then you can take your feet a little bit further back. Just like a long base. And then on inhale, we swing down a little bit, 3 times. Bringing your chin towards the floor. Exhale, swing back up. The head stays off the floor. Inhale. Coming closer to the floor. Exhale. Inhale, coming down. Exhale, swinging back. So it's pretty intense. Relax for a moment. Rest for a moment. You could either come into child's pose or just sit back onto your feet. Yeah, if that wasn't easy, it won't be, right? So it's a forearm balance with a movement backwards and forwards. Okay, so let's just try that again. If you want to separate, another position for the hands is to use a brick and your index fingers are separated, the thumbs are underneath. If you prefer that, try that. So you can have a brick lengthways or, as it were, thin or long. Okay, so you could try that as a variation, or just cross the thumbs again. So the forearms, you want to bring them about shoulder width, okay? Definitely grounding the wrists as well. And then we push up. It's like a long base dolphin. If you go too short, it just gets really difficult to move. Okay, so on an inhale, we swing down 3 times. Exhale, swing back up. 1, 2, 3, and release. That's enough. Okay, so releasing down. A little bit of strength work. Again, it helps to, well, interestingly, it helps to break up tension around the shoulder and upper back, neck area, as well as strengthen. Okay, good. So from here, coming into, so I'm keeping the pace fairly, I'm not going too slowly because I want to get through the whole sequence. And part of this practice is the intensity of just keep moving. Okay, so we're going to come into all fours. This is a curious movement. So as we inhale, we're going to reach back, right hand to left foot. Sometimes called the tiger stretch, and then exhale back to all fours. It's like you're walking along the floor, but you're not going anywhere. So I'm reaching back. So the idea is to try and keep the elbow in line with its own shoulder. Okay, so it'll tend to want to swing out. Just see if you can keep the elbow in line with its own shoulder, and you lift the back leg. Obviously, you're not going to reach the back foot. You'd be like highly flexible if that was the case. I'm sure there's someone out there that can do that. The idea is to do a gentle, continuous movement, reaching back. So it's mobilizing and strengthening the shoulder area. You'll probably find one side's easier than the other. And it's a gently warming up movement. Keeping the pelvis more or less facing the floor, chest facing the floor. Keep the gaze going down or slightly forwards if you want. So on the inhale, we reach back. Exhale down. Okay, then coming to stillness, coming to all fours. We'll just sit back onto the feet for a moment. And I'm going to swing round to face the camera. So you can, again, depending on your needs, you could sit on some support here. And we're going to extend the arms. So we're going to move into a little sequence now for working with, well, that space between the shoulder blades, working with the eagle pose. So the arms go out straight and we do 30 little circles, yeah, in one direction. So I'm not going to count, you just do enough to still start to feel like you've done you've done enough. You'll know when you've done enough of these circles. So we're extending from middle finger to middle finger, sense of opening the chest as well as opening the space between the shoulder blades. It's like winging the arms. I always think of seagulls when I do this movement, gliding along the beach across the sea. So it's it starts off really easy and then just gets really intense. Okay, so whenever that is, the intensity starts to build where you can just simply come to rest, but being aware of the direction that you went in. Okay, growing your spine, growing the crown, extending the arms. Once again, we're going to go the opposite direction. Okay, up to 30, but again, as I say, I'm not counting. So taking the gaze towards the horizon. Keep breathing. Feeling the intensity build when you've had enough of that, extending out a little bit more, right through to the fingertips, and then releasing down. Resting the hands into your lap. Brief pause there. Growing the spine. So come into a little bit of work with the eagle pose. So I'm going to extend the arms forwards, and then I'm going to place my right elbow into my left. Okay. So we were looking at this actually a few weeks back as a standing pose. So again, the sort of neutral position is elbows at the height of the shoulders, but we can do a movement here. So as you inhale, you lift the elbows and lift the gaze. I quite like to do this. And then as you exhale, you pull the elbows into your chest and even There's a sense of concaving the chest. So we flex the upper spine and then inhale, gently extend. So you could do that 3, maybe 4 times on your own breath. So you could exhale down. Inhale, lifting up. At your own breath. One more time, and then bring to the kind of neutral position. Well, it's not really neutral. It's like the elbows at shoulder height, and then see if you can bring your forearms perpendicular to the floor. Okay, so that you'll feel that around the outer shoulders, space between the shoulder blades. A few breaths there. Gurudasana, arms, and then releasing. Release the arms for a moment. Extend the arms out to the sides or forwards. And bring your left elbow into your right arm. Gain a movement. Inhale. Lifting the elbows, lifting the chest. Exhale. As it were, we're looking down into our belly. The elbows coming down towards the body. Inhaling. Lifting up, exhaling. Keep breathing. So I was talking to a friend the other day as we were cooking, and he was saying when he really concentrates, he stops breathing. And I remember that can happen in yoga as well, this holding of the breath. So, but we're aiming here to have a continuous breathing. In fact, we're trying to move from the breath as you inhale, lifting up, and then coming into elbows same height as the shoulders, forearms moving away from your face to become as much as possible perpendicular to the floor, your palms as much together as is possible. Try not to lean back there. So bringing the spine into the vertical axis, softening the belly, hugging and releasing down. Good, taking a pause there, feeling around the shoulders. So we're gonna just add into the sequence now this crossed shoulders position. So I want you to bring your right elbow on top and your left underneath. And now we're gonna come down to the floor. So you bring your elbows underneath your upper chest is probably where they're gonna come. And then you see if you can bring your weight into the outer arms. The forehead can rest down towards the floor. This is more of a passive stretch based on what we've just done. You need to lift, maybe your elbows need to be a bit higher. It's comfortable on the chest. I've almost got the elbows underneath the throat area, or the upper arms underneath the throat area. I'm letting my weight drop into the outer elbows. So it's pretty intense. Certainly the first times that you do this, till it becomes a bit more familiar. So it's like a yin style shoulder stretch. Pulling on the connective tissues, the fibers around the upper arms. And there's a sense it's pulling the shoulder blades away from each other. That space between the shoulder blades getting opened up. Staying in this pose for a minute or two. Relaxing the belly into the floor, releasing the belly into the floor. So you can have a cushion for the head. That can help. Or some padding for the forehead. And to come out, you can wriggle yourself out. Another way of coming out is to roll to your right. as I've just done there. And then you're facing the ceiling, and then you come back up again. And then this time you want the left elbow on top. So it's like you're doing a self-embrace. That's the setup. And then you lower yourself down carefully. Can be almost, for beginners, this can be a bit terrifying. Yeah, it feels like the shoulders are going to pop out. So yeah, do demonstrate it. Show them what's going to happen. And then again, resting the forehead down, be able to rest on a cushion. In some cases, you can have the arms lower down, but it really depends on your chest. You know, if it's, you can have them more underneath your chest area, but that's probably not going to be comfortable for everyone. So you can move them higher up. Breathing again, a minute or two. So passive stretch, working into, well, the area of the deltoids, rhomboids between the shoulder blades. Really useful pose, really gets into that intrascapular area, space between the scapulas and shoulder blades. So it could be helpful to really breathe in to the upper back, the shoulders. So you can soften your face, your eyes, your jaw. And then again to come out, so you can wriggle out from there, or so if you can roll to your left in this case. Yeah, that's it. And then carefully come round. Yeah, so we got this one. So it may be helpful to have a strap. So I'll just give you a moment to get a strap if you need one. I should have sent a message beforehand here, but hopefully you've got all your yoga gear around you. So I've got a strap. You can have the strap, as it were, lengthened out. And then what we're going to do, this is quite interesting, sort of intense. So we're going to make a pile of gear. I'm going to use 4 foam bricks. So I want to get, I don't know, 50 centimeters worth of height. You could have a chair. You could put a chair there if you haven't got all these kind of bits of stuff. And we're going to place the strap over the left shoulder. So we'll do this in stages. So again, this is a more of a passive stretch. Okay, so I want us to, think here. Yeah, so we take the right elbow, right hand, shall I say, around the back of the body. And then the left arm goes up, and then we see if we can hook the fingertips. Okay, I mean, you can do the other, yeah, that makes sense. So you can use the strap there. Take hold of the strap with the left hand and the right hand if you can't hook the fingertips. And then that is probably quite a lot of work already, right? So it's Gomukasana arms. I can really feel that it's pulling into that area that's tight. But then what we do is we intensify. So you can either bring the forehead to your support, so you need to be a bit nearer, or you can bring the tip of the shoulder to the support. So I'm going to start off, yeah, that's kind of easy for me. So I'm going to let the head hang down and support the left elbow on the support. Okay, so I'm going to let my head hang through the space. It's okay if it comes to the floor, it comes to the floor. Well, that's fine. In fact, I'm going to go for an intermediary position where I do rest the forehead on the floor, but I support the elbow. See what I mean? So I'm letting the head come down to support. Elbow is on support a little bit higher up. Or you can let the head hang. So it's pretty intense. If that's too intense for you, come back up and just stay in the upright position. Or you could adapt it like I've just done, which is bring the forehead onto some support, and then the elbow is on a bit higher up. And we just breathe into that for a minute or two. Pretty intense work around the shoulder. So where can you feel that? If it's too intense, another position is resting the forehead on the bolster. Definitely much more, definitely milder, that version. And then when you're ready, on an inhale, carefully coming up. So is that making sense, the variation there? So what I did was I brought a block down to the floor for the forehead, okay? So the elbow is supported on the bolster and the forehead on the floor or on the brick there. So we'll place the belt now over the right shoulder. I'm going to bring my left hand around the back of the body. I can use the fingertips to bring the left elbow in. Reach up. So I know this is going to be tougher. See if I can hook the right hand to the left. Extend up through the right side of the body. And then I'm going to swing forwards and allow the forehead to come down to the bolster. If that's accessible for you, well, bring the head closer to the floor. And I've got my right elbow supported higher than the head. And breathe there. Using the strap if necessary. And we're going to see if we can just relax into this for a minute or two. Breathing. So it intensifies, I'd say it intensifies the work on the left side, the lower arm. But it also intensifies the stretch on the under upper arm. That's on the, as it were, the triceps area from the armpit area through to the elbow. Okay, so release the fingertips. Carefully unwind. Okay, and yeah, we've got time. Okay, so one more passive pose here. So this is relatively simple one. So come into all fours, sometimes quarter dog. So I want you to bring your right arm underneath you and rest the right side of the head into the floor, the right shoulder down. I quite like to separate my knees. My hips are behind the line of the knee. And I'm just bringing the left hand out as a stabilizer. So I'm bringing some gentle weight into the outer right arm. If you want to intensify the amount of weight, you can also step your left foot out. Yeah, so I'm swinging my left foot out, so it takes more weight into the right side of the body. So I'm straightening my left leg. I'll just show that at a different angle. Okay, so I'm stepping out the left leg. There's weight going into the right shoulder. Breathing now. And on an exhale, dropping the left foot down, left leg down. Carefully coming to forwards. And we can just do cat-cow for a moment. Exhale, drawing the belly in, looking through the legs. Inhale, looking forwards. Exhale, looking back. And then thread your left arm underneath. Right arm stabilizes, right hand stabilizes. Weight's going into my left shoulder. Possibly swinging out my right leg this time. Bringing weight into the left outer shoulder. So variation of quarter dog. So it's either quarter dog, both knees on the floor, or if you want to bring more weight, personally I like to bring a little bit more weight into the left shoulder there. So I'm straightening my right leg. And then you may be aware of this version where you look up and you take your right arm up. So you open up into a twist through the upper back. So if that feels okay on your neck, then give it a go. If not, don't do that. So I'm taking my right arm up and behind me. It's sometimes called outrigger pose. It requires a certain amount of balance. I'm sending weight into my left shoulder still. It's a really interesting stretch into the sort of trapeze area, neck area on the left side in this case. And then very carefully exhaling, bringing the top arm down, right leg in, coming up into forwards again, into cat-cow. Exhaling, looking back, inhaling, looking forwards. Sitting back onto your feet. We're going to come into the last pose before Shavasana. So again, we need some support. So this is called the supported bridge. You want to bring the floor up as high as you can. So I've got 4 bricks in a bolster. I'm then going to sit up onto this support. And I'm going to walk back. So it's like, I think this is, actually this is extension of the shoulder, isn't it? And then this is flexion of the shoulder, right? So I think, so when the arms go back, it's flexion, and when the arms go up, it's extension. I think it's that way around. I need to go and check now. So the idea is to walk your hands back. You're not really emphasizing so much strengthening here, but it's more like stretching into that front shoulder pectoral area, if you like. The pelvis is just resting on the support. So you're not having to struggle, hopefully, in this pose. And you can focus your attention into that forwards of the shoulders position, that front shoulder. And then we lift gently the chest. It's not completely passive, right? So we gently lift the chest area. I suggest you keep looking forward, so don't let the head swing back. That's not going to be good on the neck. So keep looking up, or looking forward, should I say, the head lifted. And we breathe here. So it's kind of an interesting mix of engaging the body. So there's a little bit of strength work happening, but at the same time, a passive stretching, but it's not completely passive. So it's not really a yin pose, this one. It's like an in-between, more passive pose and a more active pose. So by supporting the pelvis, we're making the pose a lot easier to sustain for a longer period, so we can really work into the shoulder area, the connective tissue around the shoulder. So hold for a minute or two. Keep the head lifted, the neck, you want to check that it's free. You're not straining now. I'm gently lifting the chest area. So again, it's probably a case where the intensity builds up around the pose, around the area forward of the shoulders. You can breathe into that just for a few more moments. And then very carefully, we're going to come up. So very carefully swing up, sitting upright for a moment, coming into the vertical, growing your spine, feeling the effect of that pose on the upper back. It's like this, yeah, I'm not quite sure how to describe. It's like this area forward, like of the bowl or the forwards of the shoulder into the pectoral area. Okay, so we're going to come down to the floor into resting. So I'd like to make sure you're going to be warm enough. So I suggest you layer up again. And the bolster can come underneath the knees. There can be some support for the head. And we're going to come down into Shavasana for the last few minutes of the session. And we'll focus in on the upper back and shoulder area. Just see what effect that's had, that sequence. So we move through it fairly swiftly. So do feel free to dim your lights. I'm going to leave my lights on, but do feel free to switch yourself into darkness, but make sure you're going to be warm enough. It's really important. So I want you to lie down. It can be useful to support the knees. You could have the roll underneath the knees. It can be useful to lift the head a little bit. And then we're going to do this thing of the self-embrace again and separate the shoulder blades. Okay, so we did this earlier on, preparing for Gurudasana. Arms. So embrace and then release the arms down by your side. So you've created that space between the shoulder blades again. And then you can just pick up the pelvis and move it towards your feet. Pick up the head, move it away from the shoulders. So a sense of lengthening out the axis, the column, spinal column. And then feeling that gentle yoga glow. Probably feel that in like I'm really noticing it in the shoulders for that last pose that we did. Taking awareness to the whole of the body to begin with. So we're going to do a short period of Shavasana for the next 7-8 minutes, which will take us up to 1/4 the hour. So you do feel free to carry on in Shavasana beyond that, or meditate, for example, but I'm going to lead it the first 5-6 minutes. I'd like us to now become more specifically aware of different areas of the body, noticing any aches or pains or tight areas which might be there. Also noticing any sense of space that you've generated in the body, that sense of stimulating the energy, circulation. And at the same time, there's a sense of releasing the limbs, releasing the arms, releasing the legs, releasing the feet and the hands, allowing the head to be fully supported. Allowing the face to relax, jaw to release. See if we can completely release any superficial tension. Just softening your fingers, softening your feet, softening the face, softening around the breath as we gradually move towards a deeper sense of releasing, which in the end requires a certain amount of time and patience. Okay. Tuning in once again with a sense of your mood, noticing if it's shifted from like an hour ago. Still centering our attention around this inner experience, allowing the world around us to be in the background. We're not necessarily giving attention to that. Just for the last few minutes of this practice session, even though you may notice thoughts or images impinging in from the world around you, if you can stay centered around your physical experience, also a sense of your mood, the emotional landscape, if you like. And focusing in on the breathing. So, as I said, I'm not being particularly dictating how to breathe this session. We're being aware of the in-breath, the out-breath. We've been moving with the breath, quite a few of the poses. I like to become aware of your experience around the breath, so the diaphragm, rib cage, belly, lower back, pelvic floor. It's all involved in the breathing. The sense of the sphere of structures around the breath. Noticing if we're breathing in the belly or if we're breathing higher up. Noticing if we're breathing more superficially or more deeply. And then just being aware as much as is possible that our experiences want to change. Not always a comfortable quality to contemplate, that our experience is constantly changing, shifting, things are moving, things are unstable, but also opportunities are presenting themselves. So we can be aware of this quality of change, nitya, impermanence, in the body, in the mind, and the space around us, world around us. Okay, so with the last minute, I'm just going to keep quiet. Do feel free to carry on with the practice or move into a meditation practice. When you feel ready to move, then you can gently move the fingertips and toes, and as it were, come up to sitting. So thank you very much. It's 1:15 now, so I'm going to stop this recording. I'm going to leave it open, actually, the channel.